The recurring dream, the unsolved puzzle. Your soul keeps knocking until you answer. When a dream repeats, it's not random. It's not broken code in the brain. It's not your mind being dramatic. It's a message, one that won't go silent until you finally turn and face it. Carl Jung believed recurring dreams were signals, a psychic SOS, an inner truth you've ignored for far too long. He called them compensatory, meaning they rise from the unconscious to balance what's missing in your waking life. So when a dream loops night after night, you're not being haunted. You're being summoned. Think about it. That dream where you're falling and can't stop. Could it be the fear of losing control, the loss of stability, the part of you that never got to feel safe? Or the dream where you're being chased by a shadowy figure, a faceless stranger, a wild animal? What if that figure isn't your enemy, but a disowned part of yourself trying to catch up with you? Jung saw the psyche as a whole, a tapestry of symbols, instincts, and forgotten truths. And dreams, especially the ones that repeat, are attempts by that deeper self to bring balance to the surface. You can ignore them, of course, distract yourself, rationalize them away. Say, it's just stress, just the brain doing its thing. But the dream will return, not to punish you, but because you haven't listened. It's your soul knocking again, gently at first, then louder, then in chaos, until you finally whisper, "What are you trying to tell me?" And that's the moment the healing begins. Recurring dreams are like sacred puzzles. They don't come with clear instructions, but they always come with meaning. The trapped room, the broken elevator, the endless hallway, each one is a symbol, a mirror reflecting something unresolved inside. Maybe it's a grief you never processed, a truth you keep denying, a version of you that you buried to survive. Until you turn and look, until you sit with the feeling instead of running from the image, the dream will continue. Not because you're broken, but because yourself is brave enough to keep reaching out. Jung said, the dream is a little hidden door in the innermost and most secret recesses of the soul. So if the dream is on repeat, don't ignore it. Decode it. Because behind that looping symbol may be the very part of you that's been waiting to be seen for a very long time. And once you see it, really see it, the dream doesn't need to repeat anymore. It has done its job. It woke you up. The shadow figure, the parts you deny, the stranger in your dream is you. Have you ever run from someone in a dream? A shadowy figure, faceless, silent, relentless. They chase you through narrow streets. They watch you from the corners of your vision. They appear when you feel most vulnerable. You wake up sweating, heart pounding. You tell yourself, that was just a nightmare. But Carl Jung would ask, what if that dark figure is you? Not the you show the world, not the curated version wrapped in smiles, polished words, social masks. This is the part of you you've locked away, the part you weren't allowed to be, the part you were taught to hide in order to be accepted, to be safe, to be good. Jung called it the shadow, the unconscious reservoir of all we've disowned. Anger, jealousy, desire, grief, power, wildness. The shadow is not evil, it is exiled. And when you exile a part of yourself, it doesn't vanish. It waits. In dreams, the shadow returns, not to punish you, but to reunite you with the parts of your soul you abandoned. That dark figure chasing you in your sleep. It doesn't want revenge. It wants recognition. It says, I am the part of you that felt rage when you were hurt, but you weren't allowed to speak it. I am your wildness, your boundaries, your fire, the things you buried to be lovable. The shadow shows up in dreams because dreams bypass the ego. The mask falls off, and what's left is truth, raw, uncomfortable, and sacred. We fear the shadow because we think it will consume us. But Jung taught that integration, not suppression, is the goal. You do not heal by staying in the light. You heal by embracing what the light has forgotten. To face your shadow in a dream is a sacred act. It's the first crack in the wall between who you think you are and who you really are. And no, it won't always be pretty. You may feel shame, grief, even rage. But beneath those layers is your lost power, your authenticity, your truth. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So the next time you see that dark figure in a dream, don't just run. Pause, turn around, ask it, "What do you want me to know?" You may be surprised by the answer, because that terrifying presence may be the key to becoming whole again. The anima or animus, the inner lover, the soul within that you long for. Have you ever dreamed of someone who seems impossibly magnetic? A woman cloaked in mystery, beauty, and wisdom? Or a man with penetrating eyes, fierce clarity, and dangerous charm? You wake up haunted, moved, longing, not just for them, but for something deeper, something missing inside you. Jung called them the anima and animus, the inner feminine in every man, the inner masculine in every woman. They are not fantasies. They are not merely sexual symbols. They are your soul's missing half, yearning to be seen, heard, integrated. The anima is not just woman. She is feeling, intuition, sensuality, emotion. She's the moonlit ocean within a man, the place he goes to feel, to weep, to dream. She appears in dreams as a muse, a lover, a siren, seductive and terrifying. The animus is not just man. He is logic, action, direction, and voice. He is the sword and the storm inside a woman, the part of her that dares, speaks, builds. He may appear as a wise teacher, a cruel critic, or a heroic rescuer. But here's the paradox. These figures in your dream are not others. They are you. The anima or animus often emerges in dreams when we've lost touch with the inner lover, when we've projected all our desire, wisdom, or strength onto someone outside ourselves. We fall in love with shadows. We chase ghosts. We mistake the dream figure for the answer to our emptiness. But Jung warned us, projection is spiritual theft. When you place your own divine qualities onto another, you give away your power. You forget that what you love in them is something sleeping inside of you. The dream isn't about them. It's an invitation. It's your soul saying, "Come back to me." It asks the man to reclaim his sensitivity, his tears, his tenderness, not as weakness, but as sacred strength. It asks the woman to trust her voice, to walk with fire, to say no without apology and yes with conviction. The anima and animus are sacred guides in your journey toward wholeness. They don't want to seduce you. They want to complete you. To meet them in a dream is to meet the forgotten halves of your own being. So next time you see them, the mysterious woman or the commanding man, pause. Don't chase them. Listen. Ask, "What do you carry for me? What part of myself have I buried in your image?" And then begin the real romance, the one where you fall in love with your own soul. The death dream, a rebirth in disguise. The end that begins everything you wake with your heart pounding. You've dreamed of death, maybe your own or someone close to you. The image lingers like smoke, a funeral, a grave, a final breath. But don't panic. Don't flee. Don't rush to interpret it literally. Carl Jung understood something our waking minds often resist. In dreams, death is not the end. It is the transformation we've been avoiding. When you dream of dying, it doesn't mean disaster is near. It means something old within you is ready to go. A belief, a role, a version of yourself that no longer fits. Like a snake shedding its skin, your psyche is preparing to let go, so you can become someone new. We fear death dreams because we fear change. The unconscious is wiser than our fear. It knows that real growth doesn't happen through comfort. It happens through the symbolic dying of the false self. Perhaps the part of you that always says yes is dying. The one that performs, pleases, obeys. Perhaps the dream is burying your shame, your guilt, your old loyalties to pain. And in its place, space. Space for something truer. More whole. More you. Jung believed that the psyche has a deep instinct for renewal. When we cling to outdated identities, I am the achiever, the good girl, the strong one, the unconscious begins to dismantle them. Not to punish, but to liberate. Death in a dream is your soul's quiet revolution. Sometimes the dying figure is a stranger. Other times it's you. Either way, it's a message. Let go of who you think you are. Make room for who you're meant to become. Grieving in a dream is sacred, because before anything can be reborn, it must be mourned. Transformation requires an ending. Jung called this process individuation, the path to becoming whole. And every true individuation begins with a kind of death. So the next time you wake from such a dream, don't ask, "What am I afraid of losing?" Ask instead, "What is life asking me to release?" Look at what's fading. It may be your dependency, your rage, your fear of being alone. It may be the mask you've worn so long you forgot it wasn't your face. And in the ashes, you might find something soft, wild, and new. Dream of death isn't an ending. It's a beginning in disguise. A quiet signal that your inner spring is just beneath the frost. The house dream, the architecture of the soul. Your home in the dream is your soul speaking in blueprints. You find yourself inside a house, sometimes familiar, sometimes strange. You walk through its halls, open doors, descend stairs you didn't know were there. And when you wake, the image lingers, quiet, haunting, vivid. Carl Jung believed the house in dreams isn't just a building. It's you, a symbolic map of your inner world, the structure of your psyche built room by room. Each floor, each window, each broken beam tells the truth about your inner life. The basement, often dark and musty, holds what's buried, your primal fears, traumas, forgotten emotions. What we repress in waking life seeps into the basement of our dreams. It is the realm of the shadow, the unclaimed parts of ourselves knocking from below. Then there's the attic, high above the noise. Filled with dust and memory, it often represents the higher mind, your intuition, ancestral knowledge, or the neglected wisdom of your own past. To dream of the attic is to be invited to remember what you've forgotten, not just mentally, but spiritually. Some dream of houses with broken doors, cracked walls, or blocked passages. And Jung would ask, where in your life do you feel stuck, fragile, or unfinished? A locked room in your dream may be a part of yourself you've sealed off, a trauma, a truth, a desire. A crumbling staircase may mirror a loss of direction, and a brightly lit room may reveal a part of your soul that's ready to awaken. The beauty of the house dream is that it evolves as you do. New rooms appear when you grow. Old wings decay when neglected. If you dream of returning to a childhood home, ask yourself, what part of me is still living in the past? What unfinished emotion is asking to be revisited? To dream of moving into a new house can symbolize transition, a shift in your identity, your roles, or your readiness to expand. To dream of your house being invaded may reveal fears of emotional vulnerability, or boundaries not being respected. And yet, the house is never your enemy. It is your ally, your mirror. Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." When your psyche builds a dream of a house, it is asking you to step inside and live more truthfully within yourself. So next time you wake from a house dream, don't just ask what it means. Ask, which room of my soul have I forgotten to enter? What part of me is ready to be inhabited again? Because this dream is not about architecture, it's about wholeness. And the house is you. The animal symbol, instinct and wisdom. The animal in your dream is not a beast, it is a message. An animal appears. It doesn't speak in words. It growls, flies, slithers, or watches. And though it comes from within your dream, it feels older than you, deeper, wilder. Carl Jung believed that animals in dreams are not random. They are the embodiment of instincts, ancient wisdom, and psychic energy that rise up from the collective unconscious, a realm of shared memory older than civilization itself. When an animal visits your dream, it brings more than symbol. It brings truth without language. A snake coiled in the grass might spark fear. But Jung would ask, is this creature here to threaten you, or to shed an old identity you've outgrown? Snakes have long represented transformation, life force, and even spiritual awakening. But if you're terrified of it, perhaps your dream is showing resistance to change. A lion may roar from the shadows, fierce and proud. Is it courage you're being asked to claim, or unacknowledged anger breaking free from within? The lion could be a symbol of your power, or the part of you that misuses it. A wounded animal, barely surviving, might reflect a neglected instinct, a piece of you that once ran wild and free, now limping from disuse, shame, or trauma. To dream of such a creature is to be invited to ask, what part of me needs gentleness right now? What vital energy have I ignored for too long? And then there are dreams of being the animal. You are flying, you are hunting, you are hiding in the dark. These dreams break down the illusion of separation. You are not just human, you are nature in motion. Jung saw these experiences as sacred returns to your instinctual self, a reminder that beneath the roles and responsibilities, you are still connected to the wild pulse of life. Whether it's a bird guiding you, a spider weaving its web, or a wolf howling at the edge of the forest, the animal comes to wake something ancient within you. These are not just dream images, they are totems, warnings, gifts. They are the soul's way of reminding you, you are more than what you pretend to be. So don't dismiss the dream with the bear, don't ignore the panther in the hallway. Ask, what is this creature trying to teach me? What instinct have I lost touch with? Because in the language of dreams, the animal is not separate from you. It is you, just older, wiser, untamed. The falling or flying dream, your ego versus your spirit. In your dreams, gravity is more than physics. It's a message. You're falling. The ground rushes toward you. There's panic in your chest. No control, no footing, no escape. And just before impact, you wake up. Or maybe you're flying, weightless, untethered, soaring above buildings, oceans, or forests. And for a moment, everything feels free, possible, alive. Two opposite dreams, one haunting, one exhilarating. But Carl Jung saw both as reflections of the same internal tension, the struggle between ego and spirit. Falling, the ego losing control. To fall in a dream is to feel the ego slip, to watch the identity you've worked so hard to hold begin to crack, crumble, or let go. It can feel terrifying, because we are taught to grip, to hold on to our roles, our reputation, our routines, even if they're suffocating us. Falling dreams often appear during moments of inner collapse. A job ends, a belief dies. You can't fake it anymore, and your psyche knows it. Jung believed the fall isn't failure, it's initiation, a crumbling of false certainty, a descent into the unknown so something deeper can rise. Flying, the spirit seeking freedom. Then there's the flight. When you dream of flying, you're not just escaping the ground, you're escaping the limits you've placed on yourself. In Jungian terms, this is the liberation of the self, the soul pushing beyond the persona, the roles, the fears. To fly is to taste what's possible when you're not bound by shame, guilt, or expectation. It's not about fantasy, it's about alignment with something higher. Your inner truth. The choice in the dream. The question is never just, why am I falling, or why am I flying? The real question is, where am I still clinging? Where am I ready to be free? Are you resisting change that your spirit longs for, or finally surrendering to a life that's trying to break you open, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you in truth? These dreams don't lie, they aren't random. They're soul-encoded metaphors reminding you that you're not here to stay the same. So the next time you fall, or fly, don't just wake up, listen. Dreams of death and rebirth. Something in you must die, so something real can live. You dream of death, a funeral, a crumbling city, a version of you lying lifeless, watching from above. And you wake up gasping, disturbed, uncertain what it means. But Carl Jung would say, don't fear it, honor it, because this isn't a nightmare, it's a message. Death in dreams isn't the end, it's the beginning. In Jungian psychology, death in dreams is not about physical endings, it's about psychic transformation. A symbol of the ego unraveling, the masks, identities, beliefs you've outgrown, the false self collapsing to make space for something more real. You're not dying, your illusion is. The part of you that pretends, the pattern that's kept you small, the role you've been playing to survive, not to live. Destruction makes room for creation. When something dies in your dream, a house burns, a relationship ends, a stranger is killed. It's not morbid. It's alchemical. Destruction is a sacred clearing, the psyche tearing down what's stale, brittle, or fake, so the self can emerge from the ashes. Jung believed that the soul uses these images to push you toward wholeness, and sometimes wholeness requires a kind of psychic death. Ego death, the portal to the true self. Jung called this the death of the ego, the moment your conscious self begins to surrender its grip on control, perfection, or fear. And though it can feel like falling apart, it's actually a return to truth, to soul, to the wild, unedited essence you were before the world told you who to be. What's dying in you? Ask yourself, what part of me is trying to end? What story do I keep telling myself that no longer fits? What am I secretly longing to shed, but afraid to let go? Because until you face that death inside the dream, you'll keep waking up feeling haunted, stuck, split. But when you embrace it, you allow the rebirth, the phoenix, the sacred self, the version of you that no longer fits into smallness. So the next time you dream of death, don't run from it. Bow to it, thank it, let it burn what no longer serves. Because every dream of death is a secret invitation to come alive. Why you shouldn't ignore meaningless dreams. The unconscious never speaks nonsense, only in a language we've forgotten. C.G. Jung. You wake up from a dream. You were at the grocery store, or waiting for a train that never arrived. Maybe your phone wouldn't work, again. And you think, that was weird. But it didn't mean anything. But Jung would stop you right there, because even the most mundane dream is not random. It's symbolic. It's intentional. It's you, speaking to you. The unconscious doesn't waste words to Jung. The unconscious is never silent. It's constantly trying to bridge the gap between your surface self and your deeper truth. It won't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, with an image, a mood, a subtle glitch in your inner landscape. And if you ignore the whisper, eventually it screams. That recurring anxiety dream, that strange stranger who keeps showing up, that small detail you brushed off, they're messages in disguise, symbols hide in the ordinary. A broken elevator might mean your rise in life feels stuck. A crowded room could reflect your longing for solitude or your fear of being truly seen. Even misplacing your shoes may echo a deeper truth, that you've lost your direction, or the identity you once walked in. Jung called this the symbolic life, where everything is metaphor, everything has a soul behind it. Even if it seems trivial, dismissing the dream is dismissing the self. When you say that dream meant nothing, you're not just ignoring a strange sleep story, you're turning away from your own unconscious, from your wisdom, from the parts of you that can't speak any other way, because the unconscious doesn't use logic. It uses images. It paints truths in metaphor, not to confuse you, but to bypass your defenses. Look closer. There's always a message. That dream you almost forgot by morning. That's the one you should write down. Sit with it, feel it, ask it, what are you trying to show me? Because even the quietest dream holds a thread that if followed might lead you to the center of your soul. So don't brush it off. Don't say, it's just a dream. There's no such thing as just a dream. There's only a self trying to be remembered before you forget again. How to work with your dreams, Jung's method. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. C.G. Jung. So you've dreamed. You've wandered through symbols, shadows, lovers, and loss. Now what? A dream doesn't end when you wake. That's when the real work begins. Because Jung didn't see dreams as passive night stories, he saw them as living portals into the parts of you you've forgotten, or never fully met. Step 1. Journal before the world rushes. In the moment you wake, before the noise returns, write it down. Don't worry if it's strange, fragmented, or mundane. Write everything, the images, the emotions, the color of the sky. Because these are breadcrumbs to your soul. Jung believed that when you honor a dream with your attention, the unconscious speaks more clearly. Step 2. Amplification. Let the symbol grow. Now take a symbol, a red bird, a broken mirror, an unfamiliar room, and amplify it. This means connecting it to myths, symbols, religions, and archetypes across time. A snake isn't just a snake. It could be death, transformation, danger, or rebirth. Mirror might be the ego, the persona, or a crack in the self-image. Jung called this the collective unconscious, a shared dream language passed down from every human who ever lived. Let the symbol expand. Let it breathe. It's older than you. Step 3. Association. Follow your personal thread. Now turn inward. What does that dream image remind you of? What memory? What person? What secret longing or fear? If the bird reminds you of your mother's voice, follow that. If the staircase feels like your childhood home, sit with that. This is association. It personalizes the universal. It makes the myth yours. Step 4. Active imagination. Dialogue with the dream. Now comes the most magical part. Active imagination, Jung's unique process of engaging the unconscious as if it were alive. Because it is. Close your eyes. Return to the dream, and now, speak. Ask the figure a question. What does the old man want? Why did the woman leave you? Why were you running? Then listen. Let the dream reply, not from your ego, but from the depths. This isn't fantasy, it's a sacred dialogue with your inner world. The goal? Not interpretation, but integration. Don't rush to decode a dream like it's a puzzle to solve. Jung's aim was never intellectual understanding, it was wholeness. Integration. Becoming the person your unconscious already knows you are. Dreams don't just tell you where you are, they show you who you could be. So tonight when you sleep, remember, the dream isn't just a story, it's a compass, it's a mirror, it's your soul, speaking in symbols. Listen, write, dialogue, and above all, honor what returns to you in the dark.